Car safety ratings, it turns out, favor men, and industry insiders say new technology that could help to measure safety better isn't being used. Our national investigative team at Washington Bureau have been investigating the issue, and lawmakers are paying attention. With reaction from Capitol Hill, here's our White House correspondent John Decker with Collision Division.
Women make up more than 50% of licensed drivers, and they're known to be more vulnerable to injury. But when cars are tested for safety, we've found they're left out of the equation for front and side impact crashes. Instead, a male crash test dummy is used in the driver's seat for both of those tests, and the technology used has barely changed since the 1970s.
Those standards are so far behind the American people that it seems to me that in this session of Congress, we should update those standards now.
Eleanor Holmes Norton is the chair of the House Subcommittee on Highways and Transit and says NHTSA needs to address this vehicle safety issue now to prevent more injuries and fatalities from happening on American roads and highways.
Women have achieved equality on the road. That is to say, in driving. But when it comes to testing so that we are sure they are safe on the road, they're nowhere near achieving equality.
Is this one of those issues where perhaps you need to push and prod the regulatory agencies? Is that Congress's role?
What I think would be best to do is to have a joint committee between Energy and Commerce and Transportation and Infrastructure and call the industry to us so that we can expose this issue to the American people.
Chairwoman Norton already has Republican support for her proposal. In an era where bipartisanship is a rarity here in the nation's capital, this issue cuts across party lines and has gained momentum for congressional action.
And it's very serious. This is a serious issue. It's about safety. It's about our family members.
Congressman Gus Bilirakis from Florida is the top Republican on the House Consumer Protection and Commerce Subcommittee, which has oversight over NHTSA. He says he's ready to join Chairwoman Norton to take action.
Well, we can do it with legislation, or we can have NHTSA do it if they need an appropriation, because I understand these crash dummies are very expensive. But we're talking about people's lives here. And we will fund it. Now, shame on them for not coming to us and asking for the funding. But again, I appreciate you bringing it to my attention and also the chairwoman's attention, and we'll work on this together.
We wanted to speak to NHTSA, but NHTSA, through a spokesman, declined our repeated request to answer our questions about this gender inequity.
Are you surprised if I tell you that NHTSA, when I reached out to them, declined to do an on-camera television interview?
Well, you know, it's unacceptable. They need to face this issue and help us get it done and make it more equitable for women.
Car companies can do their own tests that are beyond the federal 5-star rating requirements. We should also note NHTSA does revisit its regulations. Over the past year, the agency has been looking at changes to accommodate for increasingly autonomous vehicles. But experts say no matter how advanced cars get, women will still be at higher risk if this disparity isn't fixed.
The Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks roster is beginning to take shape. Beth Houle is in next to introduce us to some of the players in the mix for a spot.